Hey guys, today I'm here with the Morimoto XB Projector LED fog lights fitting all 2018 and newer JL Wranglers. So there's a number of reasons why you would want to upgrade your fog lights. Maybe one has burnt out on you, or you've damaged a housing on the trail and you're looking for an upgrade as well as a replacement, or you're just not happy with the mediocre lighting that's coming out of the factory incandescent bulb. Now this option by Morimoto is going to be a big step up from the factory incandescent with a powerful high intensity LED that does have a projector housing, so it is going to have a more uniform light pattern, look a lot more modernized in its color temperature, while also increasing your lighting performance while assisting those headlights in the process. Now this is going to be perfect for somebody who's looking for some extra visibility out of the front end of their Wrangler, while also upgrading their style with the sleek black LED housing. Now not only are they going to just look sleek mounted up within the bumper, but they are going to match with any other LED lighting that you pair with it. Not to mention, along with the lighting performance as well as the extra styling, these are going to be pretty durable and hold up to all of your trail adventures. Now these are going to be roughly $200, putting these at a pretty affordable price point for upgraded fog lights on the page. Now there are not many options when it comes to upgraded LED fog lights for the JL. However, what I can say is Morimoto is a very reputable brand when it does come to LED lighting and LED performance, and these do show a really good build with some really good light output. So in my personal opinion, I think that these are going to be a really good option to take a look at, and they are fair for that $200 price point. Not to mention, they are pretty easy to install. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about an hour to get these in with some very basic hand tools. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used for this install were an impact wrench, an 18mm and 7mm deep socket, 16mm shallow socket, a T20 torque socket, trim removal tool, a flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips head screwdriver. So our first step to removing our bumper is removing the upper splash shield. Now it's held in by a couple of clips as well as 2 screws. So you are going to need a flathead screwdriver as well as a trim removal tool and a 7mm socket. So like I said, there are a couple of clips holding this splash shield in. I'm just going to remove them with a flathead screwdriver. Now if they are giving you a little bit of trouble, you can use a trim removal tool in order to get these out, but they should come out pretty easily. So this one's giving me a little bit of trouble. I'm just going to grab removal tool, pop that one out. And then on each corner, there are 2 screws holding this in. We can remove those and fully remove our splash guard. So on the back side of either corner, you're going to have a 7mm screw. I'm going to use a 7mm deep socket and a 1/4 inch drive ratchet to remove that. You're going to have one on either side. After that's removed, we can repeat that on the other side and then remove our splash guard. After we're done with the upper splash guard, we're going to move to the lower one. There's 2 screws in the back that are holding it on. I'm going to use a 7mm socket to remove those 2 screws, and then we can remove the clips at the front that are holding the rest of the lower splash guard in. So now what we can do is remove the clips that are holding in the front of our splash guard. I'm going to take a trim removal tool and wiggle those out. Make sure you have a grip on the splash guard when you get to the last clip. And then once all of the clips at the front are out, we'll be able to fully remove the guard. What we can do next is remove the 2 bolts that are holding in our skid plate. So we can remove the skid plate, get it out of the way so we can access the studs in the back of our bumper. I'm using a 16mm socket to remove those 2 bolts. After those are removed, we can just give a little tap on the bottom and that will push it out of place. There are 2 tabs holding it into our lower frame horns. What we can do now is disconnect our fog light wiring harness. After this is removed, what we can do is start removing the nuts that are holding on our bumper. There are studs going through our frame horn, and we want to make sure that all of that hardware is removed. Then we'll be able to remove our front bumper. I'm going to use an 18mm deep socket to remove the hardware on the studs on our front bumper. I'm going to start with our passenger side. Also using an impact wrench to make it a little bit easier. So just like on the outside, there is also going to be hardware on the inside. I'm going to use that same 18mm socket to remove the inside hardware. And we can repeat that for the other side. After all of our hardware is disconnected, we can take off our front bumper. May have to give it a good wiggle just to loosen up the studs from the frame. So what we can do next is remove our fog lights, but first we have to remove our trim pieces on the outer sides that are covering up our fog lights. You're gonna need that 7mm socket, and you can either use a hand ratchet and an extension to clear the edges of the trim piece here, or I'm just gonna use my impact. So there are a number of screws holding this in on the outer perimeter, attaching it to the bumper. Just gonna remove all of those. It is a little bit easier and faster to do it with an impact just because these are pretty long screws. So once these are all removed, what we can do is pop this off, and that will expose our fog light. We can unplug it. Now we can remove our fog light using a T20 Torx bit. I'm gonna use a Torx socket in my impact wrench. There should be 3, we only have 2 installed. We are missing 1, but once those 3 are removed, we can remove our fog light and repeat that same process on the other side. Before we go ahead and mount up our new fog lights into our front bumper, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about them and the benefits that you're going to receive out of these new LED fogs in comparison to the factory incandescent setup. So right off the bat, you can tell that these are going to be a big upgrade as far as style goes. They have a very sleek black housing, especially with that upgraded LED. You're getting a very modern and a upgraded look out of these new fogs in comparison to that old school chrome reflector. With that upgrade in the styling, you're also getting an upgrade in construction. The new Morimoto fog lights are going to have a polycarbonate lens on the front, which means that they are essentially able to take a hit while you're off-road and resist damage a lot better than the factory plastic housing, while also offering complete transparency for the best visibility possible. They're also going to have an aluminum housing on the back with a black powder coat finish, so they are going to have a very sleek look while resisting any corrosion on the aluminum on the back. Now, not only are they just going to be there for style, but they are going to give you that lighting performance upgrade that you are going to want out of a new set of fog lights. So with the LED technology over the incandescent bulb, these are going to have a brighter light, and they're also going to have a more uniform light pattern. So these are going to help you out with your visibility and assist your headlights a lot better than the factory incandescent bulb or the factory halogen bulb. Not to mention, they are going to have a cooler color temperature, giving you a more modern and upgraded look in comparison to a halogen bulb, which has a lower color temperature, giving off a yellowish hue. Now, what I really like about these is the fact that these are plug and play, and they work with the sport models or the factory incandescent housing. So we will be swapping over the brackets and the hardware in just a second, making the install just that much easier. So let's go ahead and do that now. So first things first, we are going to swap over our factory brackets so we can mount up our new fog lights in our bumper. You're going to have 3 posts on the back of each of the fog lights. They're going to have little plastic tabs. All we have to do is pinch them down and push the bracket up, and we'll be able to slide it off of the fog light posts. So once we pull that bracket off, we can put that to the side. We will have to swap over these little posts here onto the back of our fog light. So these just pop off. Then what we can do is actually remove this bolt. Should be very easy to twist out by hand, or you could use a Phillips head screwdriver. So there's a plastic retainer clip, be careful, it will fling out, but I'm just going to grab a flathead screwdriver and push that out. Then we can swap that into our new fog light on the back here. You can reinstall that bolt. Take our Phillips head screwdriver and tighten that in. Then we can attach our posts that we took off. They'll just slide right on. And then attach our bracket. Right, so then we can do the same thing for the other fog light. So now that the brackets are on, we can go ahead and mount these up in our front bumper. So essentially what we can do now is just piece our bumper back together in the reverse order that we took it apart. So we are just going to pop this fog light back into place and secure it down with the factory hardware. We can plug it in while we're here. And take our T20 Torx screws. Tighten those up with the T20 Torx socket. Now, if you are using an impact wrench, make sure you have the clutch all the way down. You don't want to strip the plastic. So now that our fog light is secured, we can grab our trim piece, put that in place, and secure it down with the factory hardware. After all the bolts are in place, we can take a 7mm socket and tighten those all down. After those are all tightened down, then we can repeat this process on the other side and then remount up our bumper. So now we can start reattaching our bumper. First, we're going to re-plug in our factory wiring harness for our fog lights. Then we can take our provided hardware or our factory hardware, which is the 18mm nuts, and thread those onto all of the studs. And we can tighten those up with an 18mm deep socket. Next, we can reinstall our skid plate by hooking the tabs into our frame and then reinstalling those 16mm bolts and tightening them up with a 16mm socket. What we can do now is reinstall our splash guard. So we gotta hook it behind our end trim pieces, put it in place. We can reinstall those 7mm screws on each corner of the back side of our splash guard. And tighten those up with a 7mm socket. And then we can reinstall our clips up at the front. Last but not least, we can reinstall our upper splash shield. So that's going to wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for more videos and products like this, always keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.